So, the other day I went to a fishing store and I saw this flat copper wire in the shelf, and instantly an image of a fly popped in my head, and I pulled the copper wire. Sometimes, for me, inspiration may come from sudden, unexpected places like this, and just seeing the wire made me think of a fly I would tie with it. I let the wire sit on a table for a while and thought about other materials to go with it, so mostly warm colors to go with the copper. And so this fly was built around the copper wire. Personally, to me, fly tying is also about creativity and making beautiful flies, not only ones that are most effective for fishing. So here's how I tied this fly. I haven't named it, but it's mostly like a classic wet fly in large size. The hook I use is Kamasan B830 size 4. For the tail, I'm thinking of using golden pheasant crest, and the first feather that I had, it had a little bit too long curve, so I picked another from closer to the forehead where the curve of the feather is more steep and more suitable for this size of a fly. The point of the pheasant crest curve is that it kind of frames the wing that will sit on top of it, so it follows the edge of the wing. And also, I think the crest kind of creates symmetry with the hook to the fly. I'm adding the copper wire here and I'm attaching it with the full body length to keep the body shape even. I chose a light brown cock hackle, and I thought this fly should have a body hackle. So I stripped the other side of the feather to make it look neat and cut off the tip of the feather, and I attach it below the hook shank right next to the wire. So I'm checking here how the feather sits and check the length of the fibers in the hackle so that they're just making sure that they are of the right length. Then adding a little bit wire to the body to make it even. And I'm using black uni floss to make the body. Touching turns, and if there's some strands or fibers left out, try to smooth them out. Then just wrapping the wire. 5 turns is a good amount for the fly. Some old salmon fishermen have a superstition that the fish won't bite if there's a even number of turns of the wire, and it's kind of probably quite silly, but it kind of stayed with me. So I always make 5 or 7 turns of the wire. Then we start wrapping the body hackle. Follow the upper edge or the lower edge of the wire right next to it, as close as possible. If we have a turning vise, it helps a lot in this. You can stroke the fibers a little bit to make them go a little bit backwards in a slight angle, but don't worry too much about it. You can always brush it or stroke it back afterwards. I'm also adding one round of the body hackle to the front so that it gives a kind of like a broken color or a little bit of contrast to the front hackle that I'll attach next. Snip off the hackle. Can stroke the fibers back a little bit. Not too hard, but so that they were facing backwards. Then I'm doing the same thing to the front hackle. This hackle is dark brown, whereas the body hackle was light brown. I strip the other side and attach this feather by the tip as well. You can snip off the head of the feather or some fibers if they were trapped under the thread. Secure the rest, bring the wire to the correct point and grab your hackle pliers. So start wrapping the front hackle or the throat of the fly. Make a few rounds until you're satisfied with the amount. So here's 3 rounds to make it. Turn it back and a few rounds of thread in front of it and clip off the rest. Now you could let the front hackle sit like this, but I usually for these kind of flies like to turn it facing downwards for the most part. So I just kind of wiggle the front hackle between my fingers and push it down. For underwing, I'm using dark turkey. It's usually quite easy to make the wing from turkey. When attaching, I'm pinching the line between my fingers and I tied it to my left, like so, a few rounds to see how it sits. Don't pull too tight or turkey has a tendency to spring the wing up. If it does so, you can try to add some rounds of thread to the front of it so that the wing will be facing the back part of the fly, so not too high. So on top of the underwing, I'm using black goose shoulder feather. I fumbled around with the first time. It didn't turn out right, so if that happens, just do it again. Do it as many times as it takes to make it look good. This is not just a fishing fly, but something more. So you should dedicate some time to getting it just right. Place them carefully. You can also try to marry the wings and fold them on top, but sometimes I just like to place them on separately. And try to hold the wing between your fingers as well, so that it won't form too many wrinkles on the wing. Snipping off the excess, like so. Hold the wing when you do it, and cover the waist ends with your fly tying thread. And see the result. The underwing doesn't matter as much when you're looking from the outside, but it may affect how it looks from below, and that's where the fish are looking at. It's always important to check the profile of the fly as well. If the other side of the wing ends up being too wide or it broke a little bit, you can always try to separate the strand from it and rip or cut it out. But if it doesn't look right, do it again. We don't want a bad looking fly, and do it so many times that it looks good. Finally, you can adjust the wing, adjust the hackle, make a knot, and apply some varnish to the head. I could have used some jungle cock to make eyes for this fly, but I thought this should be a more simple fly with few materials. If you want to make the head look good, you should apply the varnish more than just once, maybe 3-4 layers to make it perfect. Honestly, when I tried this fly, I didn't think it was that much of a success. In daylight indoors, the fly didn't look that special. I thought it was a good idea at first and a nice try, but in the end I was left kind of unimpressed with the fly. Later in the evening, however, I decided to take a couple pictures of it outside. The sun was shining low and the light was getting colder with the evening air, and the fly looked completely different. The low shining sun made the rib look entirely different, and the cold light made the black wing jump out with beautiful contrast. So, here's a lesson learned. Give the fly a chance and you may see it in a different light. Literally. So, as a final note to fellow fly tyers, I want to know what gives you inspiration and motivation to tie flies. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your take on this.